Hello everybody, how are you? I'm degarege amare. So I'll teach you in the object-oriented system analysis and design course. So in this object-oriented programming system, there is different phases or stages. So under this stage or phase, there is the first one, there is requirement collection, meaning to say there is the planning stage, that meaning requirement analysis, and the second phase analysis, and third there is design phase, and next one the implementation and the testing and the maintenance. So under these different stages, the first in analysis and in design stage, there is to design and analyze using the modeling. So in this modeling, there is the app to need or use to create the modeling of the software system. There is the unified modeling language. This modeling language, it is what the technical, or it is the graphical language. So this graphical language is a blueprint for to design one's software system. So which this unified modeling language uses that of graphical language, such for to visualize the software system and to specifying the software system and to constructing and documenting the software. So this unified modeling language uses such kind of pointers, and this objects of the unified modeling language is to provide common vocabulary of object-based term in diagramming technique. So what UML is not, that means the unified modeling language is not such kind of area. This is UML is not a methodology, and UML is independent of any methodologies, because this UML is the technique or this graphical language to create the software design model. So this UML is what approach, it is an approach for object-oriented system analysis and design, and this UML is a set of diagramming technique, because in software designing there is the diagramming technique. So this diagramming technique is to design using that of the UML language. So this benefit of using UML, it is common language, it is reduce learning curve, and increase domain and design model reuse, increase customer involvement, that means to increase the customers understand. So in this UML there are structures under this to show the diagram. So this unified modeling language is that of the building block of one software system, and this UML is the common mechanism, and this UML is there is an architecture. So let's do the first kind of that building block of the UML. This includes things, relationships, and diagrams. So under this, the first one is thing. UML, the first one is thing. So thing means simply refer to the object. In one's object-oriented, just simply this object is the thing. Relationship, this is the one of the building block of the UML. So this relationship, the glue that holds things together, that means there is dependency. That dependency means one entity to depend on the other entity, there is dependency. And the association, this association means there is the relationship between the entities. And generalization, this means just two sub classes or entities that to create one main class, there is the generalization. So the third one is diagram. Another building block of the UML is diagrams. This diagram, it is either structure diagram or behavior diagram. The first structure diagram are used for representing the data and static relationship that are in the system. In one system, there is to represent the data and static relationship using that of the structure diagram. And the next one is behavioral diagrams. This provides the analyst with any way to depict the dynamic relationship among the objects. They also support the analyst in modeling the functional requirement. And commonly used UML diagrams, there are different common used UML diagram. That means in UML diagram there are different kind of diagrams are needed. So the first one is use case. This use case is the one thing in developing one's diagram is in UML. This describes how the system is used. That means in one system boundary there is use case diagram. So this use case diagram means just how the system is used. And the starting point for UML modeling. That means in UML modeling this use case is the start point. And the next one is class diagram. This show class and relationship. That means in UML diagram there is class diagrams. So this class diagram represent, that means show class and what relationships between these classes. So this is class diagram. And the next one is sequence diagram, and this is CRC calls are used to determine class. And the next one is sequence diagram. This shows the sequence of activities. That means in one system model there is the activity of each sequence is shown by the sequence diagram. Each use case may create one or more sequence diagrams, meaning to say in the system UML diagram each use case may create one or more sequence diagrams. How? Collaboration diagram is an alternative to sequence diagram, activity diagram. Each use case may create one activity diagrams. And next one, component diagram. This model how components are connected within each other in forming software system and the interface of those components. Example, third-party libraries, file execute, etc. And deployment diagram. This deployment diagram models the physical deployment of artifacts with components, such as example, web server, artifact, jar file, and node web application in this database. So these are what the common building commonly used in one's UML diagram. So the next one is architecture. This architecture is the set of significant decision about the organization of software system, the selection of structural elements and their interfaces by which the system is composed. Their behavior are specified in the collaboration among those elements. The composition of this structural and behavioral element into progressively large subsystems. And this object-oriented system analysis and design architecture of the system can be described a view, because in one's object-oriented system analysis design architecture just to describe, identify by the view. But simply this view means either in design view or process view or deployment view or implementation view. So these different views of the system just to describe the architecture of the UML. So in this design view there is the vocabulary functionality of the behavior software system, and process view this performance scalability throughput, and this system assembly configuration management. That means in implementation views there is the applying or coding of the UML module, and deployment means just to deliver the system to the users. That means just the new software installed on the user's machine. So in this common mechanism, there is system development using UML can be made simpler by the present common mechanism, which can be referred in terms of specific adornment, that means decoration, command division, extensibility mechanism. So these are different common mechanisms of the UML. More on UML diagram. From commonly used diagramming technique, use case diagram is the driving one, starting point. Because of in last slide, I told you use case diagram is the starting point in UML diagram, and this use case just to describe or show how the system works. I told you in previous slide, and this in use case diagram, this is how communicate at high level what the system needs to do, and each of the UML diagramming technique built upon it. Because in once modeling, each UML diagram is built up on the use case diagram. Because this use case diagram just to describe or represent how the general aspect of the system works using that of the use case. Use case diagram illustrates in a very simple way the main function of the system and the different kind of user who interact with the system. That means in the system, who will interact with the system, who is to access the system. So this is justified by the using the use case. So these are different components of use case diagram, because when you creating use case diagram, just what components to need. The first one is actor. This is the definition, but this is when you create use case diagram, just it is the symbol what to represent the actor. So this symbol of the actor, meaning to say this is a person or system, but this drives benefit from and it external to the system. That means this person or system or this actor is interact in from the system externally. So this is the first component, actor. And use case, this is second component of in use case diagram. So this use case represent major piece of the system functionality and can extend another use case. That means from one use case to extend to another use case, that using the extend keyword, or just sometimes to need include keyword. So this can use another use case. It in place inside the system boundary, meaning to say this use case component is needed in the inside of the system boundary. And the system boundary, this system boundary symbol, so this system boundary means the general boundary of the system. So this is what general boundary of the system. So in this general system boundary, the top is the system name. Just type simply system name. That means this system what to perform title. So this is what system boundary. And association relationship, this is the symbol of relation association. So this links the actor with the use case. So this symbol uses for to link the use case to the actor. That means how to interact the actor to the use case. This use case means just how the actor to access the system. So this is different components of in use case diagram. So this is what actor. This is actor. It is maybe person or another system, but this is person or system just interact with the system. It is not specific user. This actor is person or system, but this is not specific user, but role that is user can play while interacting.